If you're looking to buy a property to purchase, to either flip, or you're just buying an investment property that you want to add some value to, that's going to build you up equity in the short term, that's going to allow you to get into the next property. Today we're going to actually break down some of the key renovations that I'm focusing on my own flip projects that allow you to get the best bang for your buck. The last thing you want to do when you buy a property to make some money on it is to overcapitalize and spend money where you do not need to spend money. So today I'm going to break down all the key things that I look at when I'm renovating a property. I'm going to break it all down for you and show you where you actually need to spend money, where I'm personally spending money on my own renovation and flip projects to stop you from spending money where you don't need to and overcapitalizing on your project. One of the first ones is first impressions matter, and it's extremely important, especially if it is a flip project that you're looking to buy and flip and move on. If the front of the house looks dingy, dark, it's overgrown, it's got no street appeal, it's going to make it really, really hard for the person that's going to buy it to even get them through the door. If the house doesn't look good from the outside, it's going to turn a lot of buyers off straight away. You want to make the house look really good and really presentable from the front. You don't have to overcapitalize on landscaping and things like that. You just want to make sure the front of the house looks inviting. It's tidy. I normally try and put a lick of paint on the front part of the house. If it's like a really dark, ugly brick, then I'll even go to the length of rendering the front of the house just to give it that new modern look, and then put a nice fresh coat of paint and tidy up the grass, tidy up the garden beds, put some cheap mulch in there, and that's going to make a huge difference as soon as people come to the property. The second one is probably an obvious one, but if the kitchen is dated and it's in really bad condition, I mean, that's the heart of the home. That's where people are going to spend most of their time. If the kitchen's not in a great state and it needs a lot of work and a lot of money spent on it, it's going to turn a lot of buyers off straight away. Even tenants aren't going to pay as much to rent a property if the kitchen's really clapped out and outdated. Now, it really depends how far gone the kitchen is. In a lot of cases, there's actually kitchens that you can preserve, that you can just modernize by cheaply, potentially just putting a new bench top on the kitchen, painting the cupboards and putting new door handles on. That is a way that you can do it extremely cheaply without having to gut the whole kitchen and put a new one back together. In saying that, if the kitchen's too far gone, it's going to be well worth the investment and well worth the money to put into actually repairing it and putting a new kitchen, bench top, doors and handles, and appliances are also going to make a difference. The next one is the bathrooms. Obviously, people are going to spend a lot of their time in the bathroom, whether it's doing their makeup, doing their hair, all of these types of things. Having a really modern bathroom is definitely going to increase the value of the property. Bathroom, very much like the kitchen, sometimes a layout can already be really functional and it's still going to work really well. Maybe it just needs some paint. I try and avoid tile paint in bathrooms. I just think it's definitely a cheap way of getting out of it, and I think people can see through that. So it really doesn't cost that much money to retile a bathroom if you need to. If it was me, pretty much most of the bathrooms that I've done so far have been too far gone. So I've gutted them, waterproofed them. Some of them I've even had to reconfigure the layout to make it more functional. Doing the bathroom up is going to make a massive difference, and it's going to add value to your property without a doubt. Another key thing to look at is the flooring. When you really boil it down to the nuts and bolts of what a house actually is, go inside the home, the floor makes up about a third of what you see in the property. So if you've got really ugly flooring and different colored tiles here and different carpet here and all these different combinations, it's not very appealing. So for the cost of what you can actually put brand new flooring in, whether it be new carpet through the bedrooms and then vinyl flooring throughout the rest of the home, or even vinyl flooring right through the house, you can do it for about $4,000 to $5,000, materials included, and I think it is absolutely worth the investment. Another obvious one is going to be painting. So internally and externally, obviously if the whole internal of the house is freshened up, so ceilings, walls, doors, trims, that's going to make a massive difference. And again, on the same note as the flooring, the walls virtually make up 2/3 of what you actually see. If you've got different colored walls and the walls are all knocked up and they're not troweled over and they're not looking nice and smooth and clean, buyers are going to pick up on that and they're not going to like it. So for what it actually costs to get a painter to come and paint the internal of the house, do all this prep work, get it looking nice and clean, get all the walls looking nice and clean, and then freshen it up, it's absolutely worth the expense, in my opinion. Outside, you just want to make sure that you don't go overboard with the painting. There's a bit of a fine line with it. I really generally lean on my real estate agent that sells a lot of properties in that area to give me some good advice in this area. Usually it's just the front of the property. I'll give it a lick of paint, and depending on what sort of build it is, if it's a brick home, potentially even render the front of the house. Now, I actually haven't done that personally. I know a lot of other people that have, and it definitely modernizes the front of the house, but is it necessary? I don't think so. So it really depends what color the bricks are, and if they're like a really ugly colored brick, then it's probably worth doing it so it looks better from the front. But if it's a nice neutral clean looking brick, I just wouldn't worry about it. Now, a couple other things that you probably want to look at painting as well, just to really freshen up the outside of the house. I always paint the gutters and fascia around the property, usually just like a nice monument or some sort of charcoaly colour just to blend in. Always paint the eaves around the house as well, just a nice flat ceiling white, just to really freshen up the outside of the property. Another thing that can really modernise a house is the actual layout of the house itself. If you've got a kitchen and a living and dining and they're all boxed in and they're really pokey, is there a way that you can potentially knock out a wall, put a beam in and open that right up? Now, people really love the open plan living arrangements in today's day and age, 2025. I think it really, for what it actually costs to do it, you spend anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 to actually knock out a wall, open it up, put a beam there, and then finish it off. I think it's definitely worth the investment. Every renovation you do on a property, you have to be thinking, if I put $5,000 in, am I going to get $5,000 back, or am I going to get 10 grand or 15 grand back? It's the old saying, if you put $1 in, you want to be making sure you get $2 or $3 back for it. So that's why it's so important not to overspend and overcapitalize on these investments, especially if it's just a place that you're looking to buy and hold and chuck tenants in. Even if it's something that you're flipping, you just want to make sure you're not overcapitalizing. Leaning on a good real estate agent is going to make the world of difference, because they're going to be able to give you feedback on the ground for that particular area, what the buyers are after, what they're looking for, and where you actually really need to spend the money to get the return on your investment. Hopefully that gives you a bit of a breakdown on the key things that I'm looking for to add value to in your renovation project. If this was helpful and you want to listen to more of this content in the future, please like this video, share it with a mate, and subscribe. It's going to help this channel grow, and it's going to allow me to continue making more videos like this and giving out as much free value as I can. Cheers, guys.